See, can you see? If you can order cinema tickets, that is the most easiest example you can imagine. Imagine you're walking into a theater, okay, and the particular in the ticket counter, someone is asking you, sir, if you can order cinema tickets online, how will you feel? You will express, I like it that way. Wow, that's I like it. Next question, dysfunctional. Suppose you are not able to order online, how will you feel? You say, okay, I can accept it, but I can live with it because I can always walk into the counter and I can probably take my tickets. Okay, so he chooses the fourth one. That is, I can live with it. So just see, the first one he chooses like, the fourth one he chooses live with. I can live with this. If the online ordering is not there, I will walk into the counter. That means the matrix shows for cinema tickets, if it is an online is there, and the matrix shows A, column 4 he has chosen in dysfunctional, first row of like he has chosen in functional. If online ordering of cinema tickets is there, he chooses 1, that is like. If it is not there, he says, I can live with it. No, not an issue. So what happens is, when these two intersection points shows A, so if it is being given, it shows it is attractive or it is a delighter. If you are giving an online booking, it becomes a delighter requirement. It is not a must-have or a performance. You are able to understand now, my friends?
Yes.
It's very easy. Like this, whenever there is a confusion with your customers, we'll slowly go into a deeper example. So review the customer response of functional questions and dysfunctional question for each of the features. Compare the functional and dysfunctional to assess the type of the requirement, whether it is basic or performance, or it is a wow or a reverse quality, or he is not even bothered. That becomes indifferent. How will you analyze the data? I've taken one hospital example again, so to make you to understand more. Assume when there is a hospital, what are the various parameters you will look in? You assume you want to introduce an online billing system so that you reduce standing in your queue. You're not well and you are dependent on someone, and assume your spouse has to go, leaving you, and he or she has to stand in the queue. So the hospital does not know whether if they introduce an online billing system, whether the customer will take it, the patient will take it or not. So they are confused. Assume they are confused whether that is a basic need or performance need or it is a wow. They are just, it's a reverse quality requirement. Collect insurance process charges from customer at the time of admission for quick processing. This is the second feature they want to introduce, or they want to know whether how the customer feels. It's already introduced, but they do not know how the customer is feeling. Third, introduce 2 free follow-up visits whose bed charges was more than 20K. Then install sensor lighting for power saving. Increase the number of varieties in the patient's food menu. Now, they would have asked 30 or 40 patients. Assume 30 patients they have asked, and to 30 patients, both functional as well as dysfunctional. Sir, if I'm going to introduce a online billing system, how will you feel? One response. Suppose if the online billing is not there, and normal traditional billing that you have to stand in the queue and you have to pay, is it okay for you? And both the questions will be rated on the same scale, and they would have, based on the previous, if you see, sorry, based on this previous matrix table, you should have it, and the intersection points should be used, or is used for the 30 patients, and they have analyzed the data like this. Okay, see the below table. See the below table. It shows feature 1. First, you have to concentrate on the must be. After doing all the intersection, you have to definitely have the must be. If it is not there, no one will buy your product. For example, what is the must be in a hospital has identified with the 30 patients? Feature 1 has an intersection of 25. And so what is feature 1? It reduces the billing time. So you can definitely have an online billing system. Next, feature 5. Feature 5 is serving good food. That becomes a must be. Now, once the must be's are addressed, you have to concentrate on the performance requirements. In the performance requirement, feature 5 has got the highest rating, most number of intersection points. And so you will be having, you will increase with the number of varieties. This is how you will make the customer to feel more good with your product or with your service. Then once these two are perfectly satisfied, then only you should go with the delighter features. Customers are delighted with free checkups that is given after they get discharged. So what is that eliminate any reverse features? Although it will reduce the processing time, customers are not ready to pay the processing charges during admission. That is the indifferent. They're not comfortable, or they're not bothered either way. So finally, if you see, they ignore all different features as they don't add any value. You were trying to have some sensors for automatically on off everything. Anyway, your billing charge is going to be the same. So whether your sensors will switch on the lights or off, that they are not bothered about it. So based on this, you will classify. Just took 5 features for a hospital. So like that, you need to properly put all the features based on your CTQs, and you have to finalize your target customers. If based on the priority of their projects, priority of the improvements, priority of your GB project, priority of your improvement in the process, whatsoever maybe. It's exactly like how you will ask in your home. You may ask, assume you're going to buy a fridge for your wife, for your home. First, you will ask all your family members how they feel about it. So they may say the must is the fruit section should be better, or the storing part should be better, or it should be small. So based on that, you will have an intersection point and you will buy, right? So that becomes a must have. If you go and say, no, they are giving so much of discount, but it takes a huge chunk of your current bill, that you will be dissatisfied with the product. So the basic needs, your family members will say it should not eat our electricity bill. It should not take much of the space. We should be in a position to clean it properly. It should not frost all our products. The controlling of the temperature and the service level, all this should be proper. Whether we are having, whether we can get good spares, whether service is good, whether we can get it from a good store nearby, whether they will help us in the transportation, all this becomes, but how will you know which is must and which is performance? If you can take this intersection point from this matrix, you will know which is must have for the fridge, which is performance needs you need to look in and go. And additionally, you may be visiting 2 or 3 stores to find out what are the delighter factors or the wow factors, wow requirements that is meted out. In one store, they may tell you, sir, just come in after a month. We will be giving lot of discounts for Diwali, that you will get free good products. You will come back and tell, before that you will verify, do you have such a specific types of fridges, whether you can take it, and based on that you will sandwich which store to be finalized, how which fridge you will take it. Similarly, in a manufacturing or a service oriented sector, you may not know, you will be flooded with lot of customer requirements through voice of customer and with your CTQs, but you may not know which one is must be, which one is performance requirement, and you cannot choose on your own, because your customer will fire, your management will fire you, because that will cost the company a lot of cost. If you wrongly implement a feature and that customer doesn't like it, that becomes a reverse quality. You're trying to sell a touch screen to an old person with lot of apps and games, that becomes a reverse quality. He wants a basic model where he will be able to see the buttons clearly, is able to make the call, and just switch it off when he doesn't want it. He just wants the basic features. So who are your customers? On what basis you are going to segment? You have to clearly analyze before. For maybe for millennials, you will have a different phone, or the old person, you may be having a different product. So based on the product and the features, which target customers you are going to look at, with them you will be asking both functional question and dysfunctional question for the same product feature. If you're going to have, if you're going into walking into a hotel, the hotel wants to conduct a survey with the customers walking in, they should ask the same question in functional and dysfunctional. Sir, if I have a sweet along with this every food, how will you feel? You may be diabetic. You may say, I am sorry, I have, you may say, I like it. Suppose if I don't have it, how will you feel? He says, I may dislike it. So when the intersection points becomes a performance needs, that it shows one dimensional in your matrix. Like this, every characteristics of the product should be properly put with a proper functional and dysfunctional question to find out where it stands in your matrix, so that you will clearly able to project it to your management. This is the must have for the customer. If we have this, definitely we can sell it to this particular customer segment. If it is for this particular segment, if you are going to introduce the same thing, that may have a reverse quality. Your management will be highly impressed if you go with this such type of data, and where you're based on a field analysis, or through it could be a casual way also, not necessarily in this on the same day you have to bombard. You are hungry, you're walking into your hotel, and the person gives you a 30-page or 30 questions to answer. He will throw it on your face. So gradually you need to tap the exact intersection point through various customer survey, research, casual talks, then through it should be in a miniature model that should be floated often. So benefits of Kano model, you will be able to understand the behavior of the customer perfectly. and your product development team will be able to understand the requirements properly. And this will reduce product development and service team. Unnecessarily, you need not float in too many delighter factors that will cost the company. You can focus on your basic and performance needs so that it will satisfy the customer level. And to have a differentiate from your competitors, you can slowly sandwich with the wow or the delighter requirements. It predicts the future trend of the product and service. What is today's delighter or wow factor may become slowly a must have. Previously, having an internet with a modem with a little number of GB for a particular amount was a wow factor. But today's requirement is the speed, the data amount that is being given for a particular price has become a must have. Similarly, every laptop should have so many features, which was a wow factor previously in few years back, now has become a must have and the performance requirement. So this predicts the future trend of the product and service, where our product and how the competitors will really eat us. This future trend can be very easily analyzed, and this will reduce product development and service team efforts for eliminating or adding as per the customer demand. Friends, you're able to understand now?
Yes,
one
ma'am,
more. Yeah.
I think we have to do a practical this thing, ma'am.
Just take two examples, my friend. Just take two product features where you are really do a Pareto. Do a Pareto and see which is really hurting you every day, which is eating your peace of mind. You take that particular feature and casually you ask them, what happens if this is there and what happens if it is not there? And see whether the intersection point is there, whether that is a must have or a performance or it's a delighter. You will know. Like that, with every customer, you ask the same question, which is troubling you the most. And you can very easily find out whether that is must or performance. And irrespective of whatever other troubles you may be having, you will clearly have a vision that you need to implement or not implement in your product or service.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Always you can come back and ask us even after practicing. If you have any trouble, you can always come through Hamsapriya ma'am and Shiv Kumar sir, and we will be able to help you if you are stuck in it. Okay, my friend.
Sure. Thank you.
With one more small 3 minutes video. Let's finish this session.
In today's video, we're going to talk about the Kano model, how it works, when and why you should use it, what to work on next, build and share clear roadmaps, and collaborate on strategy. Let's start out today's video by defining what the Kano model is. The Kano model is a framework used to prioritize features on a roadmap based on how likely they will satisfy or delight your users. Your team should pull together a list of features to be considered and plot them on a chart that visualizes satisfaction versus functionality. This shows how desired or needed a feature can be, or if users are simply indifferent to it. The Kano model of product development and customer satisfaction was published by Noriaki Kano in Japan in 1984. Kano Noriaki developed this framework while researching the factors that contributed to customer satisfaction and loyalty. You can use the Kano model whenever your team is considering the features to work on for your next release and would like to figure out what mix is best. This will also result in the best allocation of limited resources and time. Kano allows you to work out the right combination of minimum basic features that must be included, performance features to start working on or investing in, and which features will impress your users the most. Now that we have a basic understanding of what the Kano model is and when you should use it, let's look at how it works. To identify how satisfied or even delighted users will be with a product, we have to consider the two dimensions or plotted axes, which are satisfaction versus functionality. The vertical axis measures the level of satisfaction satisfaction, and it ranges from aggravated or complete dissatisfaction to delight or complete satisfaction. The horizontal axis represents how well we've implemented a certain feature, how much has been invested in its development, or how much of a particular feature the user gets. It ranges from none to best or very well done. The Kano model uses 2 axes to identify and classify the features into 4 buckets. The 4 buckets are basic features, attractive features, performance features, and indifference. Let's start with the basic features. These are expected by your users, but they won't satisfy them more. Without them, they won't even consider your product. For example, we expect our email to be able to import or look up contacts, or a messenger app to send messages. If they don't have this or the feature doesn't work, users will simply go elsewhere. We expect these features to be there and work, and therefore we see that as our product team puts more effort or money into making them more functional, our satisfaction grows. Yet it will never reach the positive quadrant. Once it reaches its maximum potential, the team can stop investing effort into it. Attractive features, also known as delighters, are considered pleasant surprises that the user isn't expecting, but as the name suggests, once introduced, they immediately generate excitement. Introducing these features can be what differentiates you from your competitors. Think about the first time Apple introduced Apple Pay from your iPhone, or the first time you were able to collaborate on Google Docs. These are the kind of features that make you go, wow, how cool. And if plotted on the graph, it's easy to see how the slightest increase of functionality will rapidly increase satisfaction. Next, we have the performance features. The more of these we give users, the more satisfied they'll be. As we increase functionality, so does our investment. Examples could be storage space on your cloud service or faster internet from your provider. Lastly, we have the indifference bucket. Certain features don't make much of a difference. The user feels indifferent towards their presence or absence. Therefore, you should avoid working on these. In order to uncover in which bucket each feature goes, the Kano model uses your users' feedback through a questionnaire. If you want to learn more about how the Kano questionnaire works, you can find an in-depth explanation in our ebook on mastering prioritization. The link to the ebook and AirFocus are in the description.
So, my friends, this can be very beautifully used. Wherever you have problems, just take the intersection points and see whether that must be your performance or who the customer is, and based on the voice of the customer. With this, I hope this will be of great use to you. I hand it over to Shivakumar sir.